the placement of items in the house or office, where the toilets are, where the fire elements like stove, furnace, fireplace, electrical panel, they can affect stress if it's not in a proper place. And there are many other things. If these things are out of balance, then we experience some stress in that part of the house that's imbalanced. And so everything is made of energy. So we utilize, just like if you have some pain in the body and you go to someone like a chiropractor or a massage therapist or acupuncture, they know that some meridian is blocked, some energy center somewhere, and they move that either by some pressure or acupuncture needle. This is exactly what we do with Vastu. We find out where the stress is blocking, and then we place something there, a little energy machine, to move that stuck energy.
Welcome to the Baggage Begun Healing Hearts and Minds podcast. I'm your host, Tami Mahmali, a spiritual guide and hypnotherapist. I'm here to guide you on this healing journey toward holistic and spiritual well-being with ease. Each week, we will dive deep into the realms of self-discovery, offering you valuable tips, strategies, and actionable steps to help you restore harmony in your mind, body, and soul.
Welcome to another episode of Baggage Begun. Today, I'm beyond excited to welcome Robin and Michael Mastro, the founders of Vastu Creation. Robin and Michael are pioneers in the art and science of Vastu Shastra, an ancient practice focused on creating harmonious and balanced spaces. Over the years, they've brought the wisdom of Vastu to people, families, and major corporations like NASA, Microsoft, and Amazon, showing us how we can all benefit from this transformative approach. Hi, Robin and Michael. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have so many questions, and I know our listeners are eager to learn more about the impact of your practice. So, hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Could you both please start by telling us a bit about yourself? What drew you to the practice of Vastu Shastra, and how has it influenced your personal and professional life?
So I was very fortunate as a young architect when I was young, to meet Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, who is the Beatles guru. And he introduced me to the science of Vastu. We didn't even call it Vastu back then, but he opened my whole world. I was thinking about architecture in terms of form follows function. I studied with Buckminster Fuller, who was the geodesic dome guy. And Maharishi opened my eyes to the idea that our environment affects us, affects our health, our relationships, our abundance, and everything else in our life. So it has to do with. He taught me about reducing the stress in the environment so we can be more fully present. I think the title of your podcast is totally appropriate because it's about letting go of what no longer serves us, so we can fully appreciate the people around us and utilize our full potential. So as a young architect, he asked me to design some buildings in Rishikesh, India. I went there, and it was at his feet that I learned about the science. And then when I came back to the States, I was fortunate again to be on the design team for the first Microsoft building and some buildings for Boeing, where I got to actually utilize the principles of Vastu that I learned. So, and that's what we've been doing ever since. I also spend most of my time helping people with existing buildings, not designing buildings from scratch, because Vastu is all about locating and eliminating environmental stress that blocks our success in all areas of life.
Eliminating stress. For those who are new to Vastu, how would you describe it in simple terms? What are the core principles behind this ancient practice, and how does it compare to more well-known practices like Feng Shui?
So Vastu is said to be 7 to 10,000 years old. Archaeologists discovered an ancient city called Mohenjo-daro on the Indus Valley region between India and Pakistan in the early 20s, 1920, I think 9, I think it was. And this city was undeniably built per the principles of Vastu. Streets were set up in a north, south, east, west grid system, and the design of the buildings was such that there was open courtyards in the center, sleeping areas in the southwest, cooking areas in the southeast. And so, yes, undeniable that it was designed for Vastu. About 2,000 years ago, the knowledge of Vastu was carried over the mountains from India to China and adapted to the local cultural and climatic conditions of the time and became known as feng shui. The goal of feng shui and Vastu is exactly the same, to keep energy moving, because whenever energy gets stuck, the flow of energy in your house or office, whenever it gets stuck, it creates some stress. And depending on where it gets stuck, it can affect relationships or health or abundance or even your career or what your life purpose, what you came here to do on this planet. So that's some of the principles of Vastu got changed in feng shui because they had some invasions from Mongols from the north and red sandstorms from the east. So many schools of feng shui are based on how you enter the structure to determine what area of the house or office is related to finances or relationships, etc. Vastu is entirely based on the directions. And really, it's aligning yourself with the forces of nature, the positive solar energy or sun that comes from the east and the positive magnetic energy that comes from the north. And when you align yourself with the forces of nature, then you get the support of nature in every area of your life. And it's also about balancing the five elements. Everything is made of energy. We feel like we're sitting solidly on the floor, but we know if we put it under a microscope, it's made of atoms and protons and neutrons and quarks and God particles. And at the basis of everything is earth, water, fire, air, and space. So by balancing those five elements in your environment, it's like many people walk into a house or an office and they feel maybe uncomfortable. It's beautiful, it's very expensive, but they don't feel like staying there very long. Something is off. It's usually, Vastu teaches us that it's usually one of the five elements or more that are out of balance. So it's about balancing those five elements to get the support of nature in all areas of your life.
Can you give me examples of how Vastu can help us create more peaceful and productive environment? Like a simple example of how you actually do that.
Stress gets created in your environment. One is if you're aligned to the earthly grid system. So that the sun rises in the east and moves across the sky, and then we have this magnetic energy from the north. And these two forces of nature set up an electromagnetic grid system that covers the surface of the earth. We could think of it as longitudinal, latitudinal lines. So if you look on Google Maps at your house or your apartment house, wherever you live, if your house is aligned to your computer, like perpendicular and parallel to your computer, then it's aligned to the earthly grid system and you get that support of nature. If the streets are going diagonally on your computer and your house is like that, it distorts the energy field. So that's one thing. The placement of items in the house or office, where the toilets are, where the fire elements like stove, furnace, fireplace, electrical panel, they can affect stress if it's not in a proper place. And there are many other things. You know, if these things are out of balance, then we experience some stress in that part of the house that's imbalanced. And so everything is made of energy. So we utilize, just like if you have some pain in the body and you go to someone like a chiropractor or a massage therapist or acupuncture, they know that some meridian is blocked, some energy center somewhere, and they move that either by some pressure or acupuncture needle, This is exactly what we do with Vastu. We find out where the stress is blocking, and then we place something there, a little energy machine to move that stuck energy.
All these changes that can help open stuck energy. I'm fascinated just listening to you because this is what I do in my work when we use all these four elements theory to move energy in the body. So when you're telling me about how you do that with the Vastu, with the spaces, what do you suggest to people that, let's say, they already bought the house, the apartment,
Yes.
and now what do you do with that?
So again, most of the work I do is existing apartments or houses or offices. So I determine where the energy is getting stuck and how we can get that energy to start moving. There are some simple things that people can do to support the elements in each direction. The elements are with a particular direction, like water is associated with the northeast. So if you add a fountain there or just some little bit of moving water, this supports it. But the actual best way to move stuck energy is utilizing getting a Vastu consultation and having somebody who understands how the energy moves in your space and where they can place something that will move that stuck energy. And the altars are the very powerful way to support any area of your life, whether you're feeling stuck in your relationships or whether you're feeling not moving forward with your career or can't find the job that supports what you love to do in your life. All of these things are really powerfully moved through the use of the altars, because the altars are a microcosm of all five elements being in perfect balance. And remember, I said, if they're in balance, then you get the support of nature. So we're creating a little tiny environment that is aligned with all the forces of nature and balancing the five elements to get that support in whatever intention or desire we have in our life.
It's kind of like another layer of balance that we add to an environment. And it can be done with or without a Vastu consultation. So some people, they're living in an apartment and they're not sure if they're going to stay there, but they have health issues, and we can see that the health issues are there in the house. We can actually tell by looking at somebody's floor plan what is going on in their life. And it's very specific. I mean, there are specific medical issues associated with the directions, which are also very interesting. So if there are blocks in certain areas and you're experiencing some physiological symptoms, there are things that Michael can do through the Vastu to alleviate that stress so that healing can start or continue in a much smoother way. But there are also altars that you can create that are more aligned to specific directions. Once the elements are placed on that altar, it acts like a homing device to bring your highest desires and wishes into physical manifestation. So Michael has been doing Vastu for 50 plus years. But when we got together, I didn't know anything about Vastu, but I was creating altars already based on a vision that I had in meditation in my early 30s. And I had been using these altars for several years before we even got together. But when I went back to graduate school, and then we went to India, and I saw these incredible sacred ceremonies that were being performed in towards the Ganges in Rishikesh, India. I started thinking, well, what if we actually applied the science of Vastu to small sacred spaces? What would happen? And I took that back to my graduate committee at Antioch University and asked them, what if I started creating these small environments? I want to use this for my graduate thesis and my research. And they gave me the go ahead because both the head of the department and my advisor were PhD architects. So it was powerful to see how people's lives started transforming. Just using these small, sacred homing devices for what it is that you want. And it is almost as if the support that you gain from creating a small, balanced microcosm of the universe in perfect order, that the change can be rather amazing and actually even sometimes better than you can anticipate with what you think you want. It kind of aligns you to your higher purpose, your spirit, your guides, and they provide you through these altars a way to create balance not only in your life but in your environment and the lives of the people who are in your family. It's very powerful. So it's like an additional support system connected to the Vastu.
You mentioned altars a few times. For those who are curious, can you explain what a sacred altar is and how it connects us to the divine?
Science of Vastu to create these small sacred spaces. But over the years, I realized that it connects you very, very deeply to the divine presence. It is like a conduit to source. And I feel that there's a birthing process through the five elements that occurs. You have this subtle idea of what you want in your life, and then it gestates so it starts with the air element, with this concept, this subtle concept, and moves into the water element, which is this nurturing amniotic fluid that you gestate this desire in. And then through the fire element, it sparks alive and it creates a an energy of that allows the desire to start taking form. And then it grounds into the earth element and comes into fruition. All of these elements come out of space. It's where you put your deepest desires, almost as if you're willing to open yourself up and surrender your desire. Just the desire is there, but we think we know what we want, but we really don't have much of an understanding of what we truly need. And I think the altars kind of creates like this gift of an adventure, a journey that takes you to a possible future that is beyond your imaginings. So I've seen so many incredible things happen in people's lives once they create altars that to me it's just remarkable because some of it seems very serendipitous, like out of nowhere something incredible happens and they can't quite relate it to anything that seems logical because it's beyond just what we think we need. It's really what our heart is yearning for.
Is it helpful if someone wanting to attract their soulmates into their life or gain a sense of peace?
Yes, I think so. In fact, my third book, which is called Making Room for Mr. Right, is based on the science, but also even more than just Vastu. Vastu comes from a body of knowledge called the Vedas. And within the Vedas are several, it's kind of like it's like these ancient sages who were living in caves up in the Himalayas cognized the workings of the universe and they put all these findings in these sacred texts, everything from astronomy to jet propulsion to zoology was written about 7 to 10,000 years ago. So these were men of incredible insight, and one of these books that they cognized is called Atharvaveda. It is how to create more balance and harmony in your life. It is a book about how to create well-being. And within these sacred texts is everything from Ayurveda, the first medicine, to yoga and meditation and Vedic breathing and sacred symbols and sacred chants and sacred music and martial arts, and it's everything that creates well being within the physiology and within your world. And Vastu comes from this specific text. And it is about creating harmony within the body, your environment. So I feel the altars take in more than just the Vastu. They take in a multitude. It brings in the Ayurveda through the balance of the five elements because it affects your physiology. It brings in the meditation because we teach people how to connect deeply with their altars. It brings in sacred chants or mantras. It brings in sacred symbols known as yantras that are actual physical representation of sacred sound that act as little motors to draw in what you want and more. So we've created kind of a whole system, a holistic system to balance the environment using these small sacred spaces.
Holistic healing through clearing your spaces and aligning them the right way.
And also because you live in those sacred spaces once they're aligned, it affects you. It affects aspects of your life. Sometimes areas of your life you weren't even aware that you needed support with, but things start changing and it just elevates the consciousness within you as well as your environment.
Absolutely. I can see it every day when I am balancing myself through the four elements. And when I do that with my clients, I see how right away my energy shifts. And like Michael said, everything is energy. So I'm gonna just jump into talking about your course. You are launching a brand new course this month on October 22nd, and I am so excited to tell everyone this podcast probably gonna be published later on after your course, but I want people to know that it's probably evergreen and people can still take your course. And I'm excited and to take it on October 22nd. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it is a step by step teaching of how to create and activate these altars that invite abundance and balance and harmony into your life. And it just breaks it down so that you're very aware of each step of the process. And we will be sharing our knowledge, our vast knowledge of not only Vastu, but also how to clear your space to allow these altars to work very powerfully in your life. And you will learn sacred chants and receive all the tools that we have as you start bringing together all of the elements for these incredible little homing devices. And besides the course as it is, I'm bringing on people who I feel have influenced our lives over the years who have their own spiritual practices and integrate altars into it. But also, I thought that it would be wonderful for people to see and hear from others who have had very interesting journeys to find what their soul purpose are in this life. And I think that that is something that a lot of people are curious about because there are a lot of successful people out there who publish, who do incredible work with others, but we don't have access to them. And over the years, we've been very fortunate to have connections with these people and watch their work evolve and do great service in the world. So there will be some of that. We have a Facebook community. Every class has a Q&A session so that if you have questions, you know that there's support available for you. We will be doing a full moon and new moon sessions together. The course spans 6 weeks altogether. There's 11 lessons. Twice a week we meet, but the class is also recorded so that you can, if you're not in a time zone, to be able to be on the class live, you at least have all that information available on demand. There is also, you get a digital copy of my first book, which is based on my graduate work called Altars of Power and Grace, which is also the name of the course. And every day for the length of the course, Michael will be doing a sacred puja blessing at dawn every morning. And it will include everybody's blessing who's involved in the course. So you'll also be getting the support of nature through his sacred work. And you'll receive in your email box every day daily inspirational blessings to keep you in that energy of gratitude and keep your heart open.
I am so excited to hear first. I'm sure it's going to be great because I witness the difference when the energy flows freely and there are no baggages or resistance, because sometimes all these resistance are stored in our subconscious mind and we are not even aware of them. The second we unleash them, a new world of possibilities is out there. I noticed in my energy when I cleared most of my baggage. We create baggage almost on a daily basis, but when you come clear, I was able to do all the things that I was always so eager to do and I couldn't because my baggage was holding back. So I know how amazing it is when your space is clear and you can create better, you can speak, you can, it's like instead of crawling, you're running. So I'm really excited for your course. I think it's going to be amazing. My question was, if can someone create a sacred altar at home? So I'm guessing yes, they can.
Yes.
My next question is, what are some common mistakes people make when setting up their spaces?
So I think a lot of people have beautiful things that they have collected, in their travels and things that touch their heart. So what we do in the altars course is tell you how to place them in a specific way that will be this amazing radio transmitter that allows you to connect with the divine and manifest whatever specific desires you have. Now, in terms of your environment, each area of the house is associated with some specific aspect of our life. And if we have things that are not organized or what we call clutter, things you may have not used in a long time that are not organized, it could be a closet, it could be a drawer, it could be your garage, it could be one of your rooms. This can affect some area of your life. Now, the Vastu overrides all that, and the altars will override that. So you don't have to clear your clutter to do altars, but just to know that in the northwest area of the house, if is some clutter, even in a drawer or closet, this can be, like you said, some baggage that blocks your ability to connect emotionally with other people. Maybe it's your partner, or maybe it's attracting a partner, or maybe it's just being able to emotionally connect with yourself, to love yourself. And then in the Northeast, that's our prosperity. Everything has to do with our growth spiritually and material. So if you have clutter there, that can affect the flow of finances in your life. In the Southeast, that's fire element. So if you have some clutter there, fire element is our immune system. It's our digestion. So if we're not able to digest life or digest what we eat, this affects our health. And then in the Southwest, it's our support. It's the earth element. And so if there's clutter there, then we have trouble, maybe back trouble skeletally if we can't support ourselves, or how we support ourselves and our family through our life purpose, our career. So the areas that we want to address and think about to bring the elements into balance. The center is the space element. So if there's clutter there in the basement or the attic or somewhere, that can affect all areas of life.
This mess can affect our lives. You encourage me to go and unclutter even more. So I'm excited about that. Could you share a story about someone who made a change based on the Vastu principles and saw positive transformation?
One thing that comes to mind is I visited maybe about 5 months ago a couple who they moved to a new house, and it was the shape of your residence, even if it's an apartment or a condo or house. If there are missing corners or it's L-shaped, this area can affect the flow of energy, just like a river is flowing and then there's a bend in that river, some of the water eddies, stagnates, and pollutes. So same thing with the flow of energy in your house. If you have some missing corner or the garage sticks out or whatever. So in this particular family, when they moved to the new house, they started experiencing a lot of stress in the relationship. It was to the point where they were talking about a divorce, but they couldn't they didn't have the money to sell the house and do all the things for the divorce. So one person was living in one part of the house and one person was living in the other area of the house. And there was a missing corner. And when I sat with the family, you could see on the kids' faces there was so much stress there. And so I just did a few things to move that energy using the Vastu, and we set up an altar for this family for relationship altar. And within a month, they started to communicate better with each other, connect emotionally. They got a little bit of a help from a therapist. And I got a letter from them yesterday that they're not getting divorced. They're living in the same room now, bedroom, and things are very much better. So it blows my mind, even after doing this, for after 50 years, that just these little energy devices and setting up the altars can make a huge difference in people's lives.
Even see how it makes a huge difference in people's life. On a personal note, I'm going to ask a personal question. How has this practice impacted your own lives and relationships? I would love to hear how this shaped your journey.
Well, I think that the process, my work is significantly different than Michael's. I am really focused on the altars, and I have seen over the years how people have used altars to attract mates, to support and enhance existing relationships. Several people who were living with somebody ended up married. Some people who were not in relationship found love in their lives. There's one story that I think is very, very dramatic. There was a couple that lived out on a lake up in the Northwest, past Seattle. What was that area that doctor and his
Bainbridge.
Maybe it was Bainbridge. But they had a beautiful house and they decided to remodel. So they built an extension and expanded the bedroom because the view was on the lake. And within a year, the husband, who was a doctor, died of leukemia. And it was very, very sad and very upsetting. The house was beautiful. They were very happy together, but she couldn't do anything to save him. He died. And I think we then met her. She came to one of our courses or talks that we had. And Michael went up to their place or her house and did some Vastu and could see exactly why this occurred. A beautiful house, but it had an issue because of the new extension from the remodel. He fixed that using work that we do with Vastu and created a relationship altar for her in the Northwest. And within a year, she had been widowed for about 3 years at that point, but within a year, she met the nicest guy. And because she was really wanting to be in that energy of love again. And they got married. I think the last time we spoke with her, they were still happy and she was very grateful for the work that Michael did on the house. And they both were very involved in tending their altar together, which I thought was very sweet. So I think that, the work it continues to evolve and support people and to bring hope and fulfillment into people's lives. And I think we feel very honored that we have found this work and we have been doing this work together for so long. It's kind of, for us, it started out as a hobby and then just became our life.
But for us personally,
Uh,
when we first got together, we had been married before we had our own children. And so combining families was very stressful. The kids didn't get along. There was lots of issues that came up in the beginning. We when we first got together, we decided we wanted to do good work in the world, support other people, and raise happy, healthy kids. So there was a lot of stress in the beginning, and the altars really helped us uh, focus our energy on what we wanted and what we wanted to manifest in terms of helping other people and having these happy, healthy kids. So it took some time, but the altars, I think, really worked. And I'm very fortunate to be working with my soulmate, and she wrote all three books. She's brilliant and beautiful. I'm just very, very fortunate.
You guys are just beautiful couple, and I'm honored to see how beautifully you're navigating through this life, doing each one of you doing their best in the area that they are prolific.
Yes.
When I talked to Robin, she mentioned that you have worked with major corporations to implement Vastu principle in their workspace. Could you share how organizations like NASA, Microsoft benefit from Vastu?
So in each of these situations, we happen to know someone like an executive or a president or a CEO. Each of these corporations, they somehow we got connected, they were attracted to our work. In all corporations, they want to be on the cutting edge. They want their employees to be creative and healthy and happy. And so they
And
were
productive.
and productive. And so they were very much drawn to us because they wanted to reduce the stress in the environment to support the productivity, the creativity, and health is a huge issue. Stress in corporations is number one priority to deal with so that people can not miss a lot of work, and it's a huge thing. So that's how we got connected, through someone we happen to know, and then we would go and sit with them and find out what the issues were, and go through the buildings and determine where energy was getting stuck. And a lot of it, remember I said it's about aligning your physical body and your environment to the forces of nature. So the direction that you face at your desk can make a big difference. Sleeping, the way you sleep has a lot to do with the quality of your sleep, the direction of your sleep. So all of these things were taken into account, as well as the total buildings where we visited.
I can't imagine. I mean, I'm thinking about right now as you were talking. I was trying to think about how my bedroom is designed or how is my desk positioned. So I probably need to take your course to learn all of that. For someone interested in deepening their spiritual practice, is Restu a religious program or it is more spiritual in nature? Because when people hear the name, it's more like I know that the source of the name is from India. Can individuals from different faiths background, such as Muslim, Jews, benefit from your courses and programs?
Absolutely. This knowledge, like I said, it was 7 to 10,000 years old, which predates all religion. So it had nothing to do with India or any religion in India. And our clients are Muslim, Jewish, all faiths, Christian. So again, it has nothing to do with religion. It's just aligning yourself with the forces of nature, and finding balance with the elements.
Align yourself with the force of nature. So great. So nothing to do with religion. It's all spiritual. You deepen your spiritual practice. You can align your body, your soul to whatever the divine guidance wanted you to be. Like you said before, you step into your own purpose. You step into what you always wanted to do and your highest good. Before we wrap up, what's one small step listeners can take today to start bringing Resto into their lives?
I would say the one thing that I feel is really important is the quality of your sleep. If you are having trouble sleeping or sleeping through the night, try sleeping with your head on the south wall. So your head forward up against the south wall. the body is an electromagnetic tuning fork. We have iron in our blood. We have electricity moving throughout us and through our nervous system. When you put two ends of a magnet together, they repel. So if we sleep with our head on a north wall, the body it's like the head is like a magnet with the positive polarity in the head. And then the positive polarity comes from the north. When you put your head on a north wall, it's like the energy repels. And so you don't get circulation moving in your body well. You don't get a deep enough sleep. So if you put your head on the south wall, you actually sleep better and you get the energy circulating through your body and you remove the toxins and you sleep deeper. Any direction but north, northwest, northeast, or north is good to sleep on, but especially south is really good for somebody who has health issues. So it helps the blood circulate, you're sleeping deeper, you're throwing off stress, it's much better. So that's one thing. Also, the direction that you face while working is important. So, Mike, you can talk about the studies.
Yeah, all of this is based on double-blind studies, and same thing with the direction that you work. And remember, I help with the corporations to help people be more productive. So there's 3 studies that I was involved with where they had 100 kids, similar IQ, study the same materials, take the same tests, and divided them into 4 groups of 25 facing each direction. Some faced north, some faced east, some faced south, some faced west. And they found in the study, everybody was hooked up to EEG machines, that the kids that faced north and east did about 20% better on the test. They were producing an alpha rhythm, which is a harmonic brainwave, and the kids that face east, west, and south were producing more of a beta, chaotic brainwave. And the kids that face north did better on the analytical left brain part of the test, the math, and the kids that face east did better on the creative part of the test. So, yeah, if you have a choice, try to face the rising sun or the magnetic energy from the north to get more productivity.
I am going to actually do that. Thank you. I can't wait to take your course and learn even more and get your book, Robin. Thank you so much. Where can our listeners connect with you? And are there any upcoming projects or ways listeners can learn more from you?
So our website is Vastu, VASTU creations.com. You can also learn more about the courses that we teach on the website. We also have products and services as well on the website. And sign up for our emails once you are on the website. And we send out different emails throughout the month to alert you to things that we're up to and specials that we're offering. And this course that we're starting on the 22nd, if you're able to start it on the 22nd along with us live, that's great. If not, and the timing doesn't work for you, the course will be recorded so you can plug in whenever you're able to.
I'm excited, and I'm going to add all your information in the show notes so whoever is listening can go and find you easier. Thank you so much, Robin and Michael, for sharing your wisdom and warmth with us. It's really inspiring to see how this ancient practice can bring about real transformation in our everyday lives. Thank you, thank you from my heart.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, and it's lovely to meet you.
Thank you.
If you're curious and want to dive deeper, you are in the right space. I ask you to look within for all the things that you want to do, be, and have. Join me at the Baggage Began Healing Hearts and Minds podcast with new episodes every Wednesday as we discover the path towards healing and transformation.